seems to be embracing.
Because we've shown them that you can make more money.
Exactly. And you interview a lot of Hollywood celebrities and actors and actresses. Tell me a little bit about that, Evie, because, we want to find out more about them. We're fascinated with our actresses and actors, but how easy is it to pull that faith out of them? Are they concerned about expressing that? Or are they courageous? Do they seem more courageous about, just talking to you about their faith?
Well, you would think, the connotation is that they would be against it.
Yeah.
But really, I found that people are very open to it. And I think if you smile and you make jokes at first, or you make them feel more comfortable, they're actually really open to it. And so I try to get them thinking about faith and ask them questions about God. And these are big, studio movies. So Warner Brothers, all the studios call us because they want to reach our demographic of the Christians. And so they know my father because he's been there for 30 years. And so they're calling us and they're saying, can you do this interview? So I'll do it. And it's an awesome opportunity for me to sit down just like this and talk to them, about faith. So.
Well, and tell us a little bit about behind the scenes. What was it like growing up? With all of this going on, and just tell me a little bit about that.
Well, it's funny because I did not realize, I guess I was a little jaded because I didn't realize how special it was.
Yeah.
Until I went away for college. I went to the Deep South. I went to Mississippi, so a small Christian school there. And I realized, what an impact Hollywood is on the whole culture. And I also did a lot of missions trips that also helped you to realize that you're in China and, they talk about Michael Jackson. They talk about every star they love.
Yep.
So you really realize the impact that Hollywood has around the world. So
it really does, because I've got some folks that I minister to in India. We go once a year with our ministry, and the missionaries over there and the people over there, you were just saying Michael Jackson, we sent over some care packages for our missionaries, and we sent them a set of Michael Jackson, the little top hats, the gloves, and the glasses for the kids, because the kids are all into Michael Jackson right now. So you're right, it's such an impact, and people really want to know. We're fascinated.
Her first interview that you did, what was that? You were
how
how
I'll
old?
tell you,
10,
hilarious.
12?
Oh, really?
This was, one of those situations of growing up in it. And so I was actually just driving my dad to his interviews, and we get there. It's for Princess Diaries. And I'm like 15, like a ninth grader in high school. And I go into the room, and my dad's supposed to interview Anne Hathaway. And he says, well, you guys are, similar ages. She's actually a little older than me. She's like, so you do it. And I've just watched him do all the interviews. And he sits there. He's very casual, talking and warm about it. And I had no prep because I've seen him so comfortable. And I'm like, what do I do? So I sit down there and I'm like shaking. I'm so nervous. So she looks at me. She's like, oh, so you must be really nervous right now. And the moment people say that, you obviously get even more nervous because you know they're aware. Yeah. And so I ended the interview like really early. You're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to spend the time with them. And I just said, thank you.
And now she did about 170 interviews last year.
Yeah, so now, obviously, years later, I've gotten more comfortable at it.
But don't you think it's taken that first step? Yeah. I mean, when God opens that door.
I think there's a line here that everybody out there in the Christian world needs to know.
Okay.
Hollywood is probably more open and easier to work with than the church.
Wow, that's a very good
It is
point.
the most incredible thing. I come to church events, people will come to me and they say, well, God told me to write this script. And I said, have you taken a script writing course? No, God, I downloaded it from God. And I look at it and I say, so God told you to write a bad script? Is this a trick that he's playing on you? You don't think you should go to UCLA Film School? See, growing up in the industry, most of these people have two qualities which you don't notice, talent and humility. So I'm on the board of the American Theater of Actors, and at the American Theater of Actors, you got Harvey Keitel and Robert De Niro, and I studied with Strasberg. And every great actor, before he goes on stage, every great musician, every great, whatever athlete goes out and trains.
Right.
But the Christian world, we think that it's instant pudding.
Right.
That suddenly the Holy Spirit gives us instant pudding.
Right.
And then we look at the script, this is terrible. So I would love to see the same humility that we see in Hollywood in the Christian world.
You're so right. I mean,
this is a weird statement.
No, it's not. It's a powerful statement, because if we're not open to growing, God doesn't want to he doesn't just download, like you said, often He'll give us a gift, but He also wants us to exercise that and wants us to grow it, and that takes time.